TPR.
कुछ जेट लैग इतना नहीं था जितना आपको जब मैं टेक्स्ट करता हूँ तो आप कहते हैं कि तुम क्यों जागे हो इस वक्त, तो जिसका जवाब मैं देता हूँ कि हाँ शायद मे बी जेट लैग, बट एक्चुअली इट्स जस्ट बैड लाइफ डिसीजन.
अच्छा ओके या cuz like I don't get it. मैंने अपने फोन पे डाला हुआ है वो होम स्क्रीन पे ना, there's like a world clock, उसमें 3-4 शहर हैं, उसमें एक सियाटल भी है. The only reason is because you live there. And I'm like,
This is actually, I feel very honored to be on somebody's home screen with my time zone.
Yeah, like सुबह मैसेज करो तो जाग रहा होता है, शाम को मैसेज करो तो शाम को, चलो ठीक है, it makes sense, but like I don't understand कि ऐसा क्यों. But
So problem ये है कि सुबह तो अब उठना पड़ता है ऑफिस की वजह से, और अब ऑफिस भी जाना है तो इसलिए और भी पहले उठना पड़ता है ताकि आदमी कुछ शक्ल ठीक करके चला जाए, वरना तो अब मैं अर्ली टेक ब्रो होता तो मैं पहुंच जाता वैसे ही, मगर
राइट अब तो सीनियर टेक ब्रो, टेक अंकल हो गए हो तो.
टेक अंकल ऑलमोस्ट, हाँ टेक अंकल कह सकते हैं. सो टेक अंकल के लिए थोड़ा जल्दी उठना जरूरी होता है, तो इसलिए सुबह तो मैं उठ जाता हूँ. फिर रात को लेवल्स ऑफ रिवेंज प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन और हाई.
रिवेंज प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन, या क्या था, हाँ रिवेंज इंसोम्निया आल्सो आई हर्ड फ्रॉम काजी.
रिवेंज इंसोम्निया, हाँ,
बट हाँ आई सपोज बोथ कजन्स. लेकिन अच्छा ओके, तो खैर दिस प्लेलिस्ट फॉर व्यूअर्स, लिसनर्स, हैपनर्स, ये जरा लेट है क्योंकि हम पिछले हफ्ते करनी थी लेकिन मैं बीमार हो गया था. एंड आज जब मैंने रिवीजन करने लगा तो मैं देखा कि दिसंबर प्लेलिस्ट भी आ गई है.
दिसंबर प्लेलिस्ट बन रही है अभी. अब मैंने ये किया है कि अब मैं जब प्लेलिस्ट बना रहा होता हूँ तो मैं उसको पब्लिक कर देता हूँ ताकि लोगों को नजर आए कि मैं आहिस्ता आहिस्ता क्या डाल रहा हूँ क्या नहीं डाल रहा. सो इट्स क्लियर दैट इट इज हैपनिंग दैट वे, यू कैन आल्सो सी इट.
राइट.
So
तो टू क्लैरिफाई, लेकिन इस दफा वाली प्लेलिस्ट में आपने सरखेल का दिया हुआ गाना नहीं डाला. जो सरखेल ने गाना भेजा ना, खाकी एंड समवन एल्स का, which you hadn't heard. I sent you on WhatsApp. Maybe you forgot.
You did. No, I did hear it. I'm wondering whether I got it before I got the playlist finalized. It's possible that the timing in my mind, क्योंकि this playlist I got done enough time ago, क्योंकि मैं सोच रहा था अच्छा एंड ऑफ ईयर भी कुछ करना पड़ेगा दिसंबर में, यानी दिसंबर वाली अगर प्लेलिस्ट अलग से निकालनी है तो वो अर्ली दिसंबर में होनी पड़ेगी. तो फिर मैंने कहा चाहिए कि नवंबर वाली
is that what's happening? क्योंकि there is a December playlist but it's not the year end playlist.
Correct. That is what I'm trying. And the year end one, we have to see how to do the year end one. Last time what I did was I heard all the monthly playlists all over again, and all the songs that stuck together I put into a compiled best of year playlist. This year
your playlists were shorter.
This year we have a good idea from someone that writes for Hamnawa, which was के Shamir's idea कि ये करते हैं कि सब contributors अपने top 5 अलग अलग दें.
अच्छा.
Which I thought was actually a good idea. So you should throw yours in there also.
Okay.
Which I think will be kind of fun.
सही है. And then हम individually फिर सबके suggestion discuss करेंगे and then insult भी करेंगे कि तो shit.
बिल्कुल, of course. हाँ, जब आप लोग opinion देंगे तो obviously they will be on the hook for defending themselves and their person and like why they make the choices they make, और वो ऐसे हैं ही क्यों.
और जब घर के अंदर से जब जिल्लत आती है ना, तो I think that is more constructive as compared to when it's faceless. When someone you know and trust, तो फिर I think ज़्यादा फायदा होता है.
Yeah. You seem to be speaking from experience.
पता नहीं यार. But खैर, इस दफा की प्लेलिस्ट जो आई थी, we had discussed a few things. Let's get the first thing out of the way. There's most of Natasha Noorani's album is on this playlist, which led me to wonder, and obviously अब वो सवाल मैं सोच रहा था कि पूछूं ना पूछूं, और इसके सोच के बताने में अब वो सवाल पूछ लिया जाएगा कि on what basis were some songs not selected. वो फिर you don't have to answer this in public or not, but if you can.
Some have been pre-released, so that's an easy answer. Part of it is easy. I don't think even all of the new ones are on there, but the ones that have already been released in previously but are now put out as part of the album are not on there.
Good save. And the
save
songs...
यानी ये कि मैं danger में था पहले.
Yeah, but then on this album we have talked previously also, जब हमें पता चला था कि क्रेडिट्स में ज़ीरक अहमद का नाम आ रहा है, और हमने कहा कि ये कैसे, तो वो इसमें भी
फिर आपने
यू आर देयर.
स्लो स्पिन को इंटरव्यू रिक्वेस्ट भेजी
हाँ.
और फिर पता चला कि
Yeah, yeah. Wrong Zeerak once again. It's always has to be the wrong Zeerak. But इसमें भी then now we learn, by we I mean I, and through me the audience learns के more songs with Zeerak as a writing credit. So how involved were you in the overall putting together of the album? क्योंकि I think ये तो काफी time से these songs are being put together, and then recording chal rahi, writing chal rahi hai. So what was the process like for you?
the short answer is very little.
Hmm.
Natasha is kind to give me a credit.
Yeah.
Basically, she's been working on this for a long time.
Yeah.
When it comes to the final kind of words, she like brings other people in. So Manu is on there, Bilal Baloch is on there, Ashir is on there. तो मैं भी हूँ उसमें. And so we write together often. We've written a few songs together. So some of the
Yeah.
album songs has lyrics which mostly she will come in with a set of ideas that she wants to explore and
Yeah.
needs to like tweak a few things or edit or work with someone. So that's where I help, but it's my fraction of contribution is very low.
Would you say your Mushkil Urdu is better than hers?
Yeah, probably, but not by much.
Right.
Matlab, it's just that I now own dictionaries, and also I have learned to use bad Urdu websites as part of my job, so I can double check things faster.
Because there was one song, I don't remember which song, उसने एक लफ्ज आया था, I was like, yeah, this I have not heard this word in music like recently or contemporary music, yeah, whatever. And I think मुझे उसका मतलब भी नहीं पता था. I was like, ये ज़ीरक ने डाला.
को पता नहीं actually. I'm not
Borderline
sure.
accusation type tone थी मेरे दिमाग में कि ये डाल दिया किसने मुश्किल उर्दू, as if to say why. But yeah,
the hope is always to find like something slightly unconventional in terms of turn of phrase. Matlab, if something's been used a ton in a song, then you either use it like really on the nose, like we are actually referencing this exact thing, or you try to move it like a little bit forward, क्योंकि लोग वरना बार बार वही चीज सुन के थोड़ा थक जाते हैं. And for me, like the funnest sort of poems and stuff to listen to are the ones where when you are just about to get to the rhyme, you realize that it actually went a different place.
Right.
Like if you are able to guess what the word is going to be the first time you hear a song, it's not as fun. So the idea is to try to find moments where, because you can't do it always, but the idea is to find moments where you can give people that surprising twist. So that's the idea.
Like the prompt word जो मैं तुम्हें भेजा भी WhatsApp पे जो कि आएगा at some point. That's literally why I put this in. And जैसे if you're watching a movie or if you've seen enough TV shows, you can say अच्छा जी अब ये dialogue बोलेगा, even if you've never seen the thing before. So yeah, okay. Did you? Another thing I was wondering was, which is perhaps not specifically a question for you, is you said Manu, Ashir, Bilal Baloch, whose name has to be said that way, and you've all done some sort of consulting on the thing, and everyone is so different in terms of like what they do, right? Manu perhaps is the one who is more visibly versatile के अच्छे जी मानो रैप भी कर लेता है, मानो दूसरे लोगों के लिए भी लिखता है, मानो के अपने गाने भी 3-4 different styles के हैं. But the 4 people you've mentioned and then the 5th being Natasha are all very different in terms of what you would think their musicality and then the related lyrical vibe might be. So how, I don't know कितना तुमने किया उसमें, right? Obviously, I'm assuming all of this is Natasha, and then people are just helping tighten some screws up with the other. But then I wonder how easy or difficult or even conscious the process it is, because you have to think from a Natasha song frame of reference, right?
Right.
Manu can't come in to be like, हाँ जी मैं तो ऐसे लिखता हूँ, because this is not a Manu song. So yeah, did you have to think from Natasha perspective a bit while also adding some of your own input?
I think everybody also contributes in their own way. So from my standpoint, like my job is, Natasha comes with an idea, okay, roughly ye ये टोन है गाने की,
Hmm.
ये हमें मीटर हिट करना है because of the melody that we've created. And these are some things that I like that will stay in there. So this is the basis upon which we're starting. And then my job is to provide options. So मतलब रैपिड फायर ना हम 6 8 10 चीज़ें निकाल रहे हैं. We're finding references, finding
Yeah.
like अच्छा किस तरह की spin हो सकती है, what other things is this similar to. And so
Yeah.
once those come in, then she gets to decide, okay, this works, this doesn't work, this works, it doesn't work. So I'm not writing it as a sense of, okay, what do I like? I'm saying I'm writing it from a sense of these are good options, and then helping providing a framework for, yeah, this feels right, this doesn't feel right. For example, like when is it okay to kind of push the grammar a little bit. ठीक है, तो कभी कभार आप ग्रामर को पुश कर लेते हैं लैंग्वेज में, कभी कभार नहीं करते. इवन इन नॉर्मल पोएट्री, लाइक देयर आर प्लेसेस वेयर यू विल पुश ऑन द ग्रामर फॉर आर्टिस्टिक इफेक्ट, बट यू कांट डू इट ऑल द टाइम,
What
बिकॉज
do
इफ यू
you
डू
what
इट
do
ऑल द
you
टाइम
what do you
तो
mean by push on the grammar? Like
मतलब ये कि आपको
उसको
ऐसी चीज बोलेंगे जो ग्रामेटिकली थोड़ी सी इनकरेक्ट हो या इडियोमैटिकली थोड़ी सी नई हो, नॉट नॉर्मल,
yeah, yeah.
फॉर इफेक्ट,
Yeah,
राइट,
because
बिकॉज
this is
दैट्स हाउ
what
यू
she
विल
does.
गेट
Like
समथिंग यूनिक.
her songs are like there's a lot of with Natasha na, because her voice always strikes me as very old-fashioned. In just like the tone and timbre and
Sure.
whatever of her voice. Like if she only sings Tina Sani songs or वो कौन थी pop star in the 80s, had a brother,
नाज़िया हसन.
Nazia Hassan. Yeah. So if she only sings songs from like that sort of era, I won't be like, oh, this completely doesn't make sense. And that's what her voice, in my mind, I put in that frame of reference. But the lyrics and the construction of the song are always very modern, right? तो मेरे दिमाग में already ये एक तो बन जाता है कि अच्छा ये this is a different sort of mix of things. And then I did notice, therefore, more with her than perhaps with everybody else, कि the lyrics are ये grammar pushing, sort of modern parlance kind of thing. Parlance का word हमने use किया, क्या बात है. तो yeah, अच्छा. So it's
मतलब
like
उसमें जैसे
something
like
that is
even
being
the question
considered.
of when to switch to English, for example, right? क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा होता है गानों में, so इस एल्बम में इतना नहीं है, बहुत कम है.
Yes.
तो जब है तो like how is it being used, when is it being used, when does it feel right, when does it not feel right, when does the idiom communicate कि यहाँ पे आपको उर्दू नहीं आती, and when does the idiom communicate that you are actually trying to do something different. Because I think part of the job here is for lots of people to come up with ways of kind of helping people edit and say कि this is how I read it, like ये ऐसे नजर आता है, ये ऐसे नजर नहीं आता है, so I think that's everybody kind of offering these little nuggets of editing is kind of also relevant.
Yeah.
और फिर उसमें लैंग्वेज वाइज भी आ जाता है, ये नहीं कि आई एम एक्चुअली चेकिंग द credits list just to make sure that I have it correct. But everybody speaks slightly different language as well, right? So जैसे मैं पंजाबी में help नहीं कर पाऊंगा ज़्यादा. So if somebody is writing like a little bit of a Punjabi phrase, how do we like make sure that it's right, that it like the rhyme is correct? So Salor help write Call Me. So Salor writes much more in Punjabi than I do. Manu will speak better Punjabi than I do. The sort of phrases that Manu will use will be very different than the sort of phrases that I will use. And I think they're listening to like different music as well. मतलब काफियों का मतलब बहुत similar music भी सुनते होंगे, but perhaps I'm the least involved in the way these guys are writing their music, so I will probably come in with like a very different set of references than most other people.
All of that then sort of has to be put into this Natasha Noorani mold, because they can't sound completely different, no?
नहीं और Natasha का mold भी बहुत strong है, क्योंकि मतलब like people draw that 80s reference quite a bit, but she's actually trying to reference a lot of stuff from before that as well, right? So 60s, 70s,
sure.
मतलब वो जो उसका like all the stuff that she is actually an expert researching that most other people don't know about, so she will bring that stuff in, saying like here's what I'm like trying to do. इसको हमने थोड़ा सा आगे लेके
I think the main reason people would even say 80s is because they don't know उससे पीछे का stuff. If they did,
and for Nazi Hassan comparison, I think like for kind of women in pop, there's like a few of them anyway, and so then you find kind of जो सबसे almost non-classical type mil jaye,
Yeah.
even though there's still some elements of the training there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that's a comparison people make a lot, but there's a lot of stuff that is being referenced from before, and then उसमें फिर जो बाद की references हैं वो बड़ी targeted किस्म की होती हैं. जैसे
Yeah.
लाइया में we do a lot of पतंग type references. ठीक है, which are very much like फरिया परवेज on the nose.
Shout out.
क्या हाँ कि उसको ला सकते हैं कि नहीं ला सकते, you know. So but it's not like exactly वही line use करनी है, but it's a little bit, yeah, that's kind of cool. Let's see if we can try to do something with that, and then you know it works or it doesn't work. Early Bollywood, मतलब Bollywood from like early, I mean early in our life,
Yeah.
like from 20 years ago.
अब तो खैर काफी early है वो भी, हाँ.
So that sort of stuff we try to like bring in as much as we can, and so that's what we're trying to reference.
Yeah, I think this is giving me more ideas for questions to ask her as well. But yeah, what I did notice was all songs borderline 3 minutes or less. Sometimes even
Good, right? Yeah,
significantly
short.
less.
Like I enjoy that they're kind of.
Yeah,
I'm noticing
they
a lot of
don't
songs these
feel
days
truncated.
are going a little bit longer than they should.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Because pehle I would feel acha khatam bhi ho gaya gana. But here they don't feel too short. Where I was like sort of surprised to see कि हाँ गाने तो मैं सुन ली सारे कई दफा, but फिर मैं time देखा ना ये time पे नजर पड़ी or something, and I was like, oh अच्छा, this is a pretty what would be considered short, and the song is like बिल्कुल constructed according to this. Was this like a conscious thing that you might have been aware of?
Not me. Like I'm not involved with this part. This is Natasha and
Natasha
Talal
question.
and Abdullah mostly, but largely Natasha. So like Natasha will go in, like once you have the melodies, then you're structuring na, ke matlab verse kab aayega, chorus kab aayega, bridge kab aayega, unko like how many of each do you want, how long do they need to be. So I think she's very much in the, this is my analysis of her work, not something that we have consciously discussed, but my sense is that she is very much, if the quality of the individual section is really good, let's use that really well, really effectively, and then move forward. Like no need to kind of repeat over and over. Matlab, no need to kind of hammer it in. Like the way it should be hammered in is that people should want to like come listen to the song again.
Yeah. Instead of like, and it would be weird also to make a song. Khair, I mean, pehle zamane mein there was a reason to make a song that hit a certain duration. But if that is not a consideration now, internet ke zamane mein, to phir, yeah, no, it's good. Hello Friends में आपने कुछ नहीं लिखा. मैंने Hello Friends.
नहीं, sadly, that is the one song I really want to have been a part of, because I listen to that a lot. It's actually one of the songs because like I get to hear kind of as she's working on them thought about, you know, so I did that. So but like after the album was released, you know, there's a few songs that like I listened to a bunch, and Friends was one of them, because it's like once you get into it, it gets stuck in your head very quickly.
Oh yeah. It became a thing. I think हम कहीं जा रहे थे, नई album आई थी, and we were going with some other people उनकी गाड़ी में, and मैंने लगा दी. मैंने, आपको पता है I'm the guy जो forces my choices onto people. तो वो the song that she released अभी जिसकी वीडियो आई थी जिसमें छमछम है, that सब पागल हो, ये क्या बात हुई. And a lot of these people are quote unquote normies, तो उनको they don't understand कि you know you could be having fun with something. तो फिर then I go into like a whole explanation mode कि नहीं असल में हमने discuss किया था ये. And then Hello Friends, I heard पता नहीं उस वक्त सिर्फ बसमा थी and कुछ और बात हो रही थी, तो बसमा कभी ना she was like fucking Natasha. And because it was very like recognizably something that you would associate with this person and their particular sense of humor. तो मैंने कहा यार very good.
I think it's funner once you know her sense of humor. It's even funner. But it's just catchy. I think
it's very catchy. And मैं बहुत सारे गाने I was wondering, मैंने you know I didn't do them justice by listening to them on like छोटू earphones या गाड़ी का speaker. फिर मैं research जब कर रहा था ना, तो मैं इन वाले sort of better headphones पे सुन रहा था. And Hello Friends is like musically also like the production is very good. बाकी सब की तो है ही, but like it's not just a मज़ाहिया song with not that much effort put into it. It's like proper layers.
Black Friday sale हो रही थी ना. I was like, should I buy better speakers? I was like, given who I am as a person, I feel like this is something that needs to happen at some point in my life.
The brand requires it.
हाँ, have you seen the Foo Fighters video where they वो हर बंदे के गाड़ी के स्टीरियो में जाके मिक्स चेक करते हैं? तो
No,
मिक्स
but I
करते हैं,
know of this
बाहर
thing.
पार्किंग लॉट में जाते हैं, then they're like
Yeah,
घटिया तरीन स्पीकर पे चेक करना है कि मिक्स
yeah,
ठीक है
yeah.
कि नहीं थी। फिर वो एक गंदे गाड़ी से उड़ के दूसरे बंदे की गाड़ी में जाते हैं। I am from that school of thought.
Right, right, right.
So
हाँ
कि
नहीं,
just how
famously Bruno Mars also has एक जमाने की कोई पुरानी Cadillac Escalade और उसमें अपने वो सारे गाने I don't know अभी भी करते हैं नहीं करते, but वो सुनते हैं उसमें जाके हैं once they're done. So this is a real thing, like they sound different and everything. Did you get headphones फिर या गाड़ी ले ली?
like a guy which would be easier. No, I bought a
हाँ,
speaker, but I haven't
अच्छा,
tested it yet. तो
very good.
वरना मैं ये AirPods पे ठीक हूँ. I think convenience beats
That's the thing. It's
everything
so
for me. I'm a
convenient.
normie.
हाँ, it's so convenient, लेकिन ये बेचारे प्रोड्यूसर वगैरह इतनी मेहनतें कर रहे हैं जो कि आपको अक्सर नहीं सुनाई देती unless you
I think
have
so.
the speaker.
Here's my argument also. Producers will hate me for this. Is like if you are making things for customers who don't have the equipment, you have it, and your answer is customers should get the equipment because we have worked so hard, then you are not selling a product. You are making art. ठीक है, आपने art बनानी है तो फिर आप art बनाएं. You know,
I've
मतलब
never
कोई
heard
बात नहीं कि मैंने
of, I didn't expect Zeerak to say you are making art as like a negative. अब तुम art बनाओ ना फिर जाके.
सॉरी थोड़ा मेरा अंदर का इंजीनियर निकलता है ना.
हाँ.
बट लाइक ये
But
वही
sure,
वाली
yeah.
बात हुई कि आप सॉफ्टवेयर बना रहे हैं, ठीक है, मैंने एक अच्छी सी ऐप बनाई, लेकिन ये इस्तेमाल करने के लिए आपको एग्जैक्टली वही कंप्यूटर चाहिए होगा इस मॉडल का जो इससे
Yeah.
ऊपर इससे सस्ता
हाँ,
नहीं, ये
हाँ,
वो,
हाँ,
यू नो,
हाँ.
या ये कि समझे कि मैंने ऐप बनाई जो सिर्फ आईफोन पे चलती है. आई डोंट नो एनीवन हु वुड डू दैट. You know what a horrible
Yeah.
horrible thing to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think it's that sort of thing where like can you actually make it listenable in a or at least fun, right? So for example, like maybe there are details that you hear the more
हाँ, हाँ.
involved you get, but are there
Yeah, yeah,
things
yeah.
that are accessible in a kind of early enough thing? So yeah, shitty speakers all the way is kind of where I'm at.
I think आजकल के ज़माने में there would be like a big misstep if your song is like dependent on a high-end thing and you're making like accessible music, but that is dependent on inaccessible hardware. So not to say that any of the songs don't sound good on like phone का speaker या जो भी है, मगर I urge you to get better headphones. तुमने speaker तो ले लिया, मैं तो कहता था headphones भी ले लो.
Yeah, actually, headphone. My problem is if I do the kind of big
Yeah.
headphones, it presses on my glasses too much. And I have this problem with my Anak right now. I don't know what happened, where it just falls off my face because it's like too wide, and so I keep having to go to the store, being like pretty tight करने और फिर ढीली हो
Anak
जाती
नहीं
है.
है क्या?
साल हो गए, बस साल से ऐसे ही है. So जब से नई है तब से यही हो रहा है.
नाक चौड़ी करा लो. एनक तो फिक्स हो नहीं रही. Let's fix the rest of the structural
आजकल
supports.
नाक चौड़ी नहीं सिर्फ कट ही रही है, तो I think the opposite is happening.
नहीं, but these headphones, because I am blessed with an enormous skull, these headphones मैं तुम्हें भेजता हूँ, ये Sennheiser के हैं. They're quite light and they don't do the pressing thing and they're like quite open also. दूसरे मेरे पास
I've just learned a term called clamp force as I was reading headphone reviews.
Is there a way
like
to
how
judge
hard they
this?
press on the
Because
head? Yeah.
yeah, अच्छा, because I need to find. अब मेरे पास ये आ गए, and अगर मुझे constant, I live in constant fear. Like, what if I have to change these headphones? Because
No, so clamping force is apparently a thing, and people
हाँ.
measure it with glasses. So when I first bought them, मैंने कुछ सस्ते से Marshall के headphones लिए थे. वो जितनी देर चल गए. Then eventually one of their cups broke. Then I held on to it for a long time, thinking I would glue it together. Never did. Eventually यहाँ पे एक buy nothing group पे मैंने डाल दिया. Are you familiar with this buy nothing concept?
No.
अच्छा, ये apparently अमेरिका के बहुत शहरों में है. I only recently discovered it. It's like these are neighborhood based groups. They're called buy nothing groups, and the whole point of it is that you can exchange things but not for money. So आप किसी से मांग सकते हैं चीज और आप किसी को दे सकते हैं चीज कि भाई ये मैं कर रहा हूँ, और इस पे सब कुछ चला जाता है. लाइक मेरे पास पुराने स्नैक्स पड़े हुए हैं जो मैं नहीं खाऊंगा, कोई लेके जाएगा, somebody like I'll come pick them up, आके उठा के ले जाएंगे. तो मैंने ये हेडफोन डाले, मैंने कहा देखो इसका एक कप गिरा हुआ है, so like you can probably glue them together, but I have been able around to साउंड चलती है बट वो थोड़ा सा प्लास्टिक टूटा हुआ है. somebody is like I'll come take them. So good, फेंकने से बेहतर तो ले जाओ. So it's like an amazing exchange situation.
हाँ, so I think the ideal thing is कि आप किसी को अपने स्नैक्स दे दें, बदले में उसके हेडफोन ले दें, हेडफोन आप जाके बेच दें. तो आपने eventually insert money into the equation. But yeah, नहीं, the Audio Technica ones that I got, इनकी PhD का review देख के way too tight for my head, तो मैंने बस मुझे दे दिया वो. वो बाय नथिंग कर दिया मैंने उसको कि
ये जो आपने अभी बात की है ना कि पैसे आ जाएंगे बीच में, इससे देयर इज
हाँ
दिस थिंग दैट माय फ्रेंड्स एंड आई हैव रेफरेंस फॉर लॉन्ग टाइम. लाहौर में
अच्छा
आरफा करीम टावर जब बनाना, हैव यू सीन दिस?
आई हैव नो ऑफ
So
दिस
it's so it's like a 20-story building dedicated to IT professionals. It's like a government building. तो कांची के पास तो आप वहाँ जाते हैं तो जो मेरे एक स्कूल का दोस्त नीचे खड़ा हुआ था तो वो टावर को देख रहा है, ठीक है, तो साथ वाले दोस्त से कहता है कि यार इस टावर के सिगरेट का खोखा मिल जाए ना तो बस. दूसरा बंदा कहता है यार टावर देख और अपनी सोच देख. So now every time we have to complain to people to say कि why are you thinking so small, we say टावर देख और अपनी सोच देख. तो आपने भी ये बाय नथिंग ग्रुप के बाद ना यही किया है कि यार वो घटिया टूटे हुए हेडफोन जाके अगर बेच दें.
या नहीं देखो इवेंचुअली ना समवन विल गिव अवे समथिंग you need to do this buy nothing thing in a rich mohalla. How you will mohalle se insert, is it dependent on mohalle?
Yes.
Acha, so you can't live in a shitty area but exchange stuff from a expensive
So
area.
I don't think they verify your address, but what they do is that they only let you join one.
Right.
थोड़ा सेल्फ पोlicing ग्रुप है.
हाँ I mean obviously I can't be the first person to think of this. तो किसी ने सोचा होगा कि ये भी एक रिस्क है. बट खैर स्पीकिंग ऑफ सेगवेज, स्पीकिंग ऑफ ये म्यूजिकलिटी जिसमें हमारी बात हो रही थी, वन थिंग आई एंजॉयड वाज, आई थिंक ये गाना मैंने लिस्ट में नहीं डाला, बट देयर वाज अ जानी सॉन्ग which had some really nice keyboard type stuff in the thing.
Pinkman?
Now पिंकमैन तो है ही हमारी उसमें लिस्ट में, बट देयर वाज अनदर सॉन्ग जिसमें जानी बहुत देर में आता है, पहले वो कीबोर्ड बजती है फिर सम अदर पर्सन सिंगिंग, इट्स आल्सो ऑन दिस एल्बम. बट इसी बहाने चलो हम पिंकमैन के बारे में बात कर लेते हैं. Was Jani the person who we were talking about last time where songs have lots of references?
Yes.
भाई पिंकमैन में कितना और रेफरेंस पे रेफरेंस, इतनी रेफरेंसेस कि कोई याद ही नहीं है. एंड आई वाज लाइक टू रियली अंडरस्टैंड दिस सॉन्ग आपने इतनी रिसर्च रिविजन कोर्स वर्क पहले से करना होगा कि यू नो, because I didn't realize for the longest time, having not seen Breaking Bad,
Oh, you
even though
haven't
I
either?
know no,
अच्छा चलो ठीक
but
है, फिर तो
फिर
वी आर
पिंक
टोटली अनक्वालिफाइड टू टॉक अबाउट दिस सॉन्ग.
वो पिंकमैन का तो मुझे याद है उसका नाम जेसी पिंकमैन था ना उसका. फिर मैंने जाके आई गूगल्ड एंड सो नाउ माय गूगल हिस्ट्री इट्स पिंकमैन. Indeed, it was Jesse Pinkman
I
from
think you are at the point where
Breaking
you
Bad.
can now write the genius article about this song.
Yeah, I think it might have also been No One Like Us, or
Oh,
Sunset Hills, one of the two, which had
ठीक
some
है.
really nice keyboards in the background. बहुत अच्छी production थी, but Pinkman is the song we're here to talk about. Really fun vibe, which I found refreshing. Even though you know the themes in the song are वही के you know I'm a good rapper, you're a shit rapper, which is very common in hip hop overall, but in a very fun way, not in like you know मैं तुम्हारा मोहल्ला जला दूंगा और तुम तो shit हो ये वो. Still very fun, which I think I don't see as much in my only Hamnawa lens from other people. आपके क्या तासुरात हैं इस बारे में?
Jani, I think one doesn't put out these like catchy hook type songs with this sort of instrumental keyboard hook. I found it new in his repertoire. जो शुरू में वो आता है ना थोड़ा सा keyboard hook before he starts singing. I think the beat was very different, much more upbeat than his like normal stuff. Like his upbeat stuff tends to be a little slower, but this one was like quick and also upbeat. So I found it fun. I noticed that in his album, I always went back to this one and enjoyed it a lot. And even मतलब वो ठीक है lyrical references तो हैं ही, but even without the deep knowledge of the lyrical references, I found it fun to go back to it purely musically.
Yeah. The lyrical references are not of the sort where अगर आपको उनके बारे में नहीं पता तो आपको गाना ही समझ नहीं आएगा. Like you'll get the point, you know, by listening to the surrounding lyrics. But हाँ, क्योंकि you're right, you were going back to this album, remind me कि we talked about songs from Lostalgia पिछले महीने, because I think that's around when it came out. So yeah, I think Jani is album pe again, like we were talking about how an album sometimes can be like a statement of intent or ये or वो mature artist वगैरह, तो इस पे there's a lot of showcasing of different types of things that Jani can do, which I think is good, because then it might be new for him as well, and then might allow him to pursue mazid things rather than if he himself pigeonholes himself into like a मैं serious बातें करता हूँ and then आगे जाके he has to start from scratch on like अच्छा let's take a different direction. It seems like he's very versatile and he can do a few different things already,
And I think
which
it
if
gives
you're a
you a
Jani
safe
fan आपको
space
पता है.
to experiment a little bit, right? Like, for example, if you're releasing an album and there's something slightly different in there, and people look at the album as a body of work,
Yeah.
then they can't look at one song and be like, "Ab samajh nahi aaya, banda to gaya,"
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So it actually gives you a way to say, okay, no, please come to my terms and see this development, and then we'll see kind of where it goes. And you get more uh, kind of almost knowing feedback, like feedback from people that have already invested time in trying to understand stuff on your terms.
Yeah.
Whereas if you were to do it just a single, you might just get a yes or no, and then that entire direction may go completely haywire. So yeah, I think it's a
Yeah.
statement of intent from him. This one is a really fun one, very different. He also has these like kind of aggressive ones, wo share wala jo aisa tha na. That's very much more so kind of aggressive than Jani's normal recordings. He has somewhere like he's just rapping on top of a guitar, so very acoustic. So wo bhi hai thoda sa. I think some of the collabs are new as well. Like I haven't seen those people show up in Jani recordings before, so it feels to me like an overall.
And speaking of collab, then Umair ki production also, I think it's because Umair also he produces songs for many people. Lekin usme bhi you get to really see that he is also very versatile as a producer himself. It's not a एक ही type की beats हमेशा आएंगी और एक ही type की themes आएंगी. He has a lot of like tools that he can employ depending on the song.
Did you
and
see the
person.
Umair interview that Hadi did?
नहीं.
Yeah, it's really great. It's like 10 minutes. वो हाथी ने उसको बहुत like it's a cut together quite well. तो मैंने हमनवा पे ही भेजी थी. तो उसने उमैर ने बताया कि अंजुम की एल्बम बनी कैसी. कहता है हफ्ते में मैं उसको 5 बीट तो भेजता हूँ.
अच्छा. हादी पैरोडीज गाय. ओह शिट. अच्छा.
तो उसने वो कहता है कि हाँ मैं बीटें बनाता रहता हूँ तो मैं अंजुम को भेजता हूँ. हफ्ते में 4-5 तो भेजता हूँ. तो उस पर अंजुम कहता है हाँ ये वाली ठीक है, ये वाली ठीक है, ऐसे ठीक है. और करते करते वो पूरी एल्बम बन गई. सो आई थिंक दैट्स ऑल्सो लाइक एन इंटरेस्टिंग डायनामिक ऑफ इट विच इज लाइक वेयर इज द पुश कमिंग फ्रॉम. So it's possible the push is coming from Umair, it's possible the push is coming from Jani, and so every album will have a slightly different story about where the push is coming from. So just say Anjum's album, it's interesting that Umair's viewpoint is that like him just sending stuff eventually like that becomes the push. Pina हमारे पास इतना काम बन गया कि अब हम इसको album बना सकते हैं.
Yeah. That's interesting also क्योंकि उसमें ना it brings to mind this thing वो my one reference Timberland का ये था कि there's this video of him and he's just playing beats that he has already pre-made for Jay-Z who happens to be there at that time, and one of them is a really iconic beat जो कि अगर आपको Jay-Z गाने पता है तो वो you can see Jay-Z is like visibly reacting in that moment to this song that he hadn't heard before. But I don't know if it was clear in that clip if Timbaland had made that beat for Jay-Z or it was just one of the beats that he makes, right? So when you think about it in this example, Umair 5 beats bhej raha hai Anjum ko. Are they made with Anjum in mind or is Umair just doing something he thinks is cool?
Here's my read of the situation. I think with Anjum specifically, Umair has a different relationship with him.
Right.
Like वो लोग इतना काम कर चुके हैं कि he can actually say यार ये इसकी है.
Yeah.
I imagine sometimes what happens is like you start making a beat and then you say yaar is pe ye this guy is good.
Yeah,
so then you start thinking of it with them in mind. It's possible they may or may not take it, but that gives you a way to think about it. Sometimes things are constructed specifically for people. जैसे होता है कि फिल्मों में sometimes roles are written for one person. Like for Friends में I think the creators have said that they wrote the role of Ross for David Schwimmer. And then everything else they wrote later and found the right people. And then once the people come in, that changes the nature of the role as well. Because you're like, actually, this person is very good at this stuff, so we're going to have him do that instead.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit of a combination. With Umair and Anjum, I think Umair probably does like specific stuff for Anjum. One of my favorite stories from that interview was he was like, काम मैंने Drake के साथ करना है. मैंने एक beat बनाई हुई है जिस पे सिर्फ Drake ही आएगा और कोई नहीं आएगा.
Oh, very good.
रखी हुई मैंने अलग से. And I was thinking about it. Like the more I think about it, the less outlandish it seems. Like given how quick this kid is rising, he is what, like 20, 20, 21. And he has, and he has like probably less. and he has 2 million listeners. Like India के top लोगों के साथ, पाकिस्तान के top लोगों के साथ वो काम कर चुका है, starting from basically zero to be this far, producing stuff so ridiculously. To think कि वो कह रहा है कि हाँ मैंने कभी ड्रेक के साथ काम करना है, I don't think this is outlandish. I think this is like, this is
like
not
अगले 5-10 साल
someone
में हो
dreaming
जाएगा.
big. हो सकता है, बिल्कुल हो सकता है. मतलब it's possible कि हो, it's possible कि ना हो, but it's very realistic.
Bro, Drake is also approachable, right? It's like you will Umair is probably like 4 degrees, if not even 6 from Drake. कोई होगा जिसका cousin Mississauga में होगा, जिसका cousin Toronto में होगा.
असल ये Mississauga connection आ गया ना.
Yeah,
that is the,
you need a person, and there's a Mississauga person in the Hamnawa playlist also. Is the towards the end of the playlist, but बन सकता है. We have the technology, we can make it happen.
believe it. I mean, I think ये जो सारे स्पेशली जो इंडियन प्रोड्यूसर्स हैं, इनका चांसेस दैट दे हैव वर्कड विद एन एजेंट दैट इज वर्कड विद ड्रेक्स एजेंट प्रीटी हाई. Like I think even 4 may be pessimistic. Like the optimistic thing would be you are 2 degrees of separation away.
Especially considering how siloed these things like become in, not siloed, how few umbrellas there are under which, you know, बहुत सारे artists with one agent, under one company, and you talk to that guy and Drake's always looking for beats. So, you know, he makes a lot of music. So
I'm ready for it. Like basically what I'm getting at is like the first time I heard it, I was like, wow. Anjum se Drake. And then I was like, yeah, Anjum se Drake, ठीक है, बनता है.
Makes sense. Yeah. बाकियों भी कर. Why stop it? एक दफा Drake हो गया तो फिर तो बस सब. Everyone will be like, ये कौन है?
Yeah, and I don't think he's saying Drake as like
the end.
कि भाई Drake तक ठीक है. No, I think he's just like, I like Drake, so I want to work with this guy.
Yeah. सही है.
It was actually pretty inspiring to watch someone with this much success and then just be like, ये मैंने करना है, मैंने बना के रखी हुई. That's the flex, which is not कि मैं कभी बनाऊंगा, अल्लाह मुझे इतनी तौफीक दे कि मैं इतना कुछ बड़ा काम कर सकूं. इधर मैं कर चुका हूं, मैं इंतजार कर रहा हूं सिर्फ.
Yeah, we just need the connection to happen.
I wish I had that patience, you know, where I'm just like, मैंने कर लिया है, मैं तो बस टाइम का इंतजार कर रहा हूं, you know.
ठीक है. I'll check out that video. I have been थोड़ा disconnected from things for the month or so before, लेकिन हम ये हादी का check करते हैं. The other thing we had was Ali Pirzada. Again, I think I've stated on the record before कि मैं ज़्यादा ये indie style music जो है is not really my thing, because I think what my issue is usually is there is more style than substance in many people that I might have come across in my old person opinion years. तो वो ज़्यादा there's like a way of singing, there's like a very minimalistic production kind of thing going into it, but कोई खास बात नहीं हो रही होती. लेकिन अली पीरज़ादा के गाने, पहली बात तो ये है कि भाई सबसे पहले तो हम आते हैं उनकी एल्बम के नाम पे. एल्बम EP कलेक्शन ऑफ सॉन्ग्स दौर EDM में टोरो में. Am I saying this right? You're from Lahore. This might be a Punjabi thing. I don't know. Well, great.
ये एक्चुअली बड़ा प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है ये रोमन उर्दू में ना, कि कभी कभार you have to see it in both scripts to really get a sense of actually अच्छा क्या बात हो रही है. Sorry.
Yeah. I have this problem in a big way. But maybe this is what it is. But so clearly, you know, there's like a thing in there, and if you go to his profile also, so then he has a thing. What does he say? His about me, using songs to say things. Using ये भी लिखा हुआ है उनके Spotify profile. And then the songs themselves are also quirky, but they're meaningful, and you know there's like effort that has been put into the lyrics and the singing and everything. Is like it's not like surface level. So is this somebody you've been aware of for a while? Because he doesn't seem very old, but he's been making music for a while, it seems.
Yeah, new to me, but does sound like someone who has not just started immediately.
Yeah.
It's also a very different style. It's not really like a style of the time, which is not to say that it's not relevant. It's just that it is not the most popular genre of the time. Like I think it's like you can describe this mostly as like acoustic singer-songwriter type songs.
उसके एल्बम के नाम पे उसने he knows.
Self-aware. This is like early Jimmy Khan almost.
Fair, yeah, sure. Hmm. Yeah, that
So,
could be a thing.
but if you look at Jimmy Khan's new stuff and this stuff, this is more stripped down. Again, not in a bad way, but just
Yeah.
different style.
Yeah.
So I was wondering whether it appeals to a certain age group more than others, but like maybe people that listen to the early Jimmy Khan era and grew up kind of listening to that kind of music, like guitar based, whether this is the thing. The interesting thing for me is ye Abdul Hanan or Hassan Rahim bhi, these are all like guitar based singer songwriters that have become who they are.
Yeah.
Tahaji, I think,
Yeah.
is also a guitar
Yeah.
singer songwriter.
Manu also a
Um,
long time ago.
मानू, हाँ, मानू के एक दो गिटार सिंगर सॉन्गराइटर टाइप गाने हैं जो मैं कहता हूँ कि भाई निकाल दो। वो
Yeah.
स्पॉटिफाई पे
Acha.
नहीं है। There's like he has a song called तराने, वो स्मॉल सिटी सेशन पे उसने किया, which I really like. Um, so, but yeah, I think so. It's not really something that people who are making this kind of music are pivoting and making a different kind of music, even if they start writing like this. And this is almost this person saying, "Nahin, this is where I'm
Hmm.
sticking," and going
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. And it seems, I mean, I don't know, because we obviously haven't spoken to him yet, so we might be reading too much into it. But it could also be like a conscious move against ke bhai aajkal to ye chal raha hai, but that's not what I'm interested in. So I'm going to make a whole point about this is not the awami, quote unquote awami thing that everyone's doing, and I'm doing something different just because the name of the collection and the choice of genre. I don't know if this is true or not, but that perhaps might be part of his motivation. Like in the songs, now I did not listen to the song again in my revision session. Like they were quite nice. Like nice is a word that I don't like to use because it feels like it's meaningless. लेकिन अच्छे अच्छे गाने to listen to despite my usual divergence from this sort of vibe. They were,
Very, very pleasant, very easy to
yeah,
get into.
pleasant is a good
They
word.
are rewarding in the sense that, like, there are some songs that are easy to start listening to for the first time. Some are
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so I think the trap is if you try to make a song too easy to listen to for the first time, but then it's over and done with very quickly.
Mm.
Like as an example, aggressive hip hop, like Talhanjum's
Mm-hmm.
album is not the easiest thing to listen to as a first time listener. उसके लिए
Yeah.
आप जाके सुनेंगे डोंट माइंड
Mm.
आप डोंट माइंड सुनेंगे you get into it and then you start listening to some of their other stuff and you're like actually this is more rewarding. So there's
Mm-hmm.
sometimes a trade-off that you need to make in terms of how easy is it to listen to and how rewarding is it. It's like the sort of music that will play in coffee shops and elevators is music that is supposed to be pleasant immediately but it doesn't have
Yeah.
to stick with you for a long time.
Yeah.
The rewarding thing about this Ali Pirzada set of songs is that it is easy to get into. It's familiar if you know exactly kind of what the sort of ebb and flow of the type of music is going to be. But the kind of his phrasing, his words, even the melodies, like they surprise you enough to
Yeah.
keep you interested, but not
Yeah.
enough to be like, oh, I need to stop
Brain
doing what
power.
I'm doing so I
Yeah.
can like
Yeah.
figure out, and then defeating the point of them being kind of nice, pleasant
Hmm.
things to listen to.
I think, and
Um,
also, I think if you choose to apply brain power, there might be some more like layers to the lyrics at least. That might be there for you, but it's not like, huh? It's not. I think वो वाली बात जो थी ना कि easy to get into, but not much substance. Perhaps I feel that vibe from other things that I don't find as interesting. Like it is my like quickly getting into it, I was like, "Honey, ye to acha hai."
I listen to a lot of kind of acoustic singer songwriter recordings
Hmm,
that don't make it to these playlists, which is like someone
hmm,
that has
hmm.
just started doing the pehla gana likhte hain, they just put together a chord progression, they have a set of lyrics
Yeah,
that works, and they like just put it together. And it's
yeah,
very easy to tell, even though the structure of the song is similar, right? There's a verse and a
hmm,
chorus, there's a guitar, there's a singer, that's it. And voices, kuch voices hoti hai na, which are like just very recognizable in their quality, but a lot of singer songwriter voices tend to not be, especially the men. They're very kind
hmm,
of similar, and so often
hmm.
you'll read it and then you're like, sunte hi aap कहते हैं कि अच्छा ठीक है समझ आ गया, like this doesn't, it's not different, it's not new.
Yeah,
These
yeah,
set of songs did not do that for me.
yeah, yeah,
um,
definitely. Yeah,
it seems something different.
और एक तरीके से ये भी है ना कि in the if the popular thing is hip hop and pop music आजकल, so if you slide in like a good song from this sort of indie singer songwriter guitar based genre, so just on its own it stands out. right? Because it's like such a vibe shift. Um, but yeah, speaking of vibe shifts, आखिरी गाना on the playlist is also an extreme vibe shift. So vibe shift नहीं कहा जा रहा, with Faisal Kapadia and Jaadu, which एक तो चलो ठीक है, Faisal Kapadia is trying something new, is making a poppy, dancey kind of song, but कहकशां Kehkashan is a word that I feel people use way too much. In this playlist, there are at least two songs, including Jaadu by Faisal Kapadia, which has Kehkashan in it. And अब मेरे दिमाग में ये हो गया है कि it's not a word that people use in normal
Real life.
talking, communication.
Well,
with
okay,
each
so I
other.
feel like we need to make a list of words of songs like जो आते हैं पॉप गानों
हाँ,
में जो रियल
हाँ,
लाइफ में नहीं आते. बंदगी.
बंदगी, yeah. हाँ,
Yeah.
हाँ.
I think another word that I find only in pop music, but then maybe it's because I don't speak Punjabi, is jindri.
Jindri, yeah. Jindri. So alienated a whole culture. बैठे बैठाए चलो, yeah, हो सकता है.
बंदगी और दो तीन रैप में तो बहुत आते हैं.
हाँ,
कलाकार.
हाँ, कलाकार I think is a new one, because not many songs outside of rap talk about singers, right? But rap में तो आप अपनी situation के बारे में बात करें.
हाँ, गुलूकार तो नहीं बोलेंगे ना रैप में तो
Yeah.
doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
Yeah.
It's always words that rhyme with common words. So zindagi bandagi.
Zindagi bandagi, jindri is also almost there. Yeah, Jahan or Kehkashan is almost, yeah, which, to go all the way back, reinforced the thing that there was a mushkil Urdu word in Natasha ka gana. But I was like, देखो, this could have been Kehkashan, but thankfully it is not. I don't think Kehkashan would have fit in that situation. But yeah, man. थोड़ी गई थी मेरी थोड़ी बहुत. Kehkashan सुन के, I was like, why is the word
Kehkashan,
making me
I think
upset?
there was a Junoon song with the word Kehkashan in it.
There have been
but I'm
many
forgetting
songs.
which one.
Kehkashan is काफी
Common.
what is Kehkashan? Universe?
Galaxy.
So
it's any kind of star themed thing. आसमान के बाद Kehkashan आता है.
आसमान Kehkashan, हाँ, yeah.
क्योंकि असल में दूसरा प्रॉब्लम ये है कि this is where you find, okay, what poems are you reading? This is pre-रेखता. No, I'm serious. Because आप Urdu में, like, the language is designed for poetry in a way that English is not.
Sure.
So for example, you will see that words and their antonyms or words and their opposites often rhyme. सवाल जवाब. Yeah. So बहुत से लफ्जों के different, बिल्कुल totally different words भी हैं that say the same thing. तो सूरज, आफ्ताब, like there's lots of, because the language sources from so many different languages, Persian, Arabic, Sanskrit, the use of loan words from other languages to describe common vocabulary is very common, especially for poetic purposes where the form of the word actually changes what you're trying to produce. Prose में तो नहीं फर्क पड़ता ना. Prose में आप मतलब you apply uniqueness, but basically the form of the word does not change the successfulness of your prose. Whereas in poetry it does. Because poetry is such a strong tradition in Urdu, you will choose the form of the word that conveys the meaning you want to convey, which is why Urdu poetry can be so interesting and surprising, because you don't know which thing they're going to source from. Problem ये है कि अगर आप सिर्फ पॉप गाने सुनते हो तो वही जो पॉप गानों में जो source words हैं वही आपको मिलेंगे. So you have to find some other source words as well. So kind of like, for example, you talked about kind of our writing process and what we do. Like our goal is to find, okay, where are we sourcing from? Like, are we sourcing from certain songs? Are we sourcing from certain poems? ठीक है, अब जैसे ये John Elia और वो youngsters वाली बड़ी controversy चली थी, right? I was like, great, you have entire class of pop songs sourcing from John Elia. This is great. चलते हैं आगे, ठीक है, लेकिन वो फैज पे फंस गए हैं. So like, okay, are you going to use like Munir Niazi poems? ठीक है, or yeah, are you going to use like Amjad Islam Amjad poems, which are not hard. मतलब मुश्किल उर्दू नहीं होती, आसान उर्दू होती है, but they use like clever turns of phrase, or they use like a slightly different style. तो आप ठीक कहते हैं, अच्छा ठीक है, फिर हम ये इन लोगों से ढूंढेंगे. Like this is where we're going to search from. So if you're going to write about आसमान, तो फिर आपको कहकशां ही मिलेगा पॉप सॉन्ग में. लेकिन आप कहीं और जाएंगे, then you will find other phrases, other turns. सहरा is very pop song, Pakistani pop song. ठीक है, कि आप या सहरा में होते हैं या नदी में होते हैं, या but these are also kind of very Anwar Maqsood influences on the Pakistani pop scene, you know, because I think he was also an innovator in the Pakistani pop scene in the sense that a lot of this stuff was not used pre him. But with string stuff, Anwar
With
Maqsood
string
straight
stuff,
away.
yeah. Yeah,
So then
because Strings
he
also
kind of
has a
runs it.
big body of work, and everyone knows कि Haji Anwar Maqsood is writing them. So there's an added layer of hashtag respect associated with all these lyrics. जैसे कि शायद एक ज़माने में Junoon would have been the thing. Yeah.
Junoon ke lyrics. So Junoon lyricists did not become as famous. Sabir Zafar.
हाँ.
But Sabir Zafar wrote some like really iconic
Yeah.
stuff.
Exactly.
But Shoaib Mansoor,
Hmm.
same thing, right?
Yeah.
Because he wrote all of the vital signs and then Junaid
Yeah.
Jamshed
Exactly.
stuff. So I think all of those guys have this such like lasting influence कि वो वाले सारे चीजें ना आ गई. And then if you look at kind of, I think Noori's first album and its decided use of sticking
Yeah.
to single syllable words also affected a large chunk of pop music going forward.
Noori's first album, and it's also like such a big contrast, especially because of the follow-up album. I think that first album was decidedly हम approachable, fun गाने बनाएंगे which is minimal complication in your mind, and easily you learn the song, sing along, and it's all happy. And then I suppose in my mind it's even more obvious because the second album was like हम serious गाने बनाते हैं. So yeah, that Noori example really resonates here. But
So I think Noori EP was very different, right? Like they were using very different words, but Noori was like, हाँ जा रहे, like वो पूरा गाना जो है उसमें मेरे ख्याल से कोई 4 syllable का कोई लफ्ज भी नहीं है, so it's totally different. So I feel like people who depending on what you grew up listening to, you will borrow those loan words quite a bit. So all of these rappers, ye kalakar is really big in Indian hip hop.
Yes,
So
yes,
there's a lot of
that's
kind of
exactly
like
what I thought of.
Hindi
Yeah.
terms that have popped up because हम उन same audience को बोल रहे हैं, same लोग हैं. So a lot of those terms are being picked up and moving forward. अगर आप Bollywood referencing कर रहे हैं तो फिर आप different type की
I
चीज
suppose
करेंगे.
the Indian thing in Bollywood in rap song would also be because there's a big audience there also. So it helps that you use a word that they would also know.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if they would know Sahara or Registan. What do you call a desert in Hindi? Registan.
But उनको Urdu lyrics are so common in
because of their own Urdu Bollywood songs.
गुलजार मतलब सारे छैया छैया वगैरह. जावेद शेख नहीं, जावेद शेख नहीं, उसका फरहान अख्तर का
जावेद अख्तर. हाँ. Immediately my mind was also like, no, the guy with the son. बेड़े क्या नाम था उससे.
Not Shah Rukh Khan's father, Farhan Akhtar's father.
Yeah. But yeah,
man, that era of Javed Sheikh in like playing Bollywood dad was also what a great era.
Yeah.
I had forgotten a little while ago कि मैं हूं ना में Om Shanti Om में Javed Sheikh was the.
He's there. Yeah. and we were all like, oh shit, ये भी है इसमें.
No, but we were also all just like, wow, so normal. ठीक है, अब हम कह रहे हैं कि मतलब इंडिया में wow ये भी होता था. मायरा खान ने शाहरुख खान के साथ मूवी की हुई है.
Maira Khan was like the lead in like a Shah Rukh Khan movie. And other actresses were also.
Atif was everywhere. Shafqat was literally everywhere.
Yeah, Rahat was also very famous there, like actively doing work.
और just all of these people have such big audiences अभी जो modern वाले हैं इंडिया में. अलीम तो अमेजिंग है ना कि वो उसकी तो ऑडियंस है इंडिया में. वो बेचारा कराची में बैठ के सिर्फ इंडियंस के लिए गाने बनाता है और वो उनको सिर्फ Spotify पे मिल सकता है. Isn't that crazy? Like, think about it.
If you say that same sentence as a Aleem hater, it'll still fit.
No, but I am not saying it as Aleem hater.
We're obviously not saying it as that.
Yeah. I'm saying it just like from the standpoint of like, how unlucky is it if you are an artist that has suddenly found an audience in cities that are just too far across the border.
Concert promoters in India should lobby to get Aleem a visa. देखो ये आपके फायदे की बात है. इसके बहुत fans हैं. हमारे boy के concert पे बहुत लोग आएंगे. We need to sell friendship as like a business proposition. इससे पहले no one has thought of this. This is a new idea that I'm bringing into the But yeah. World Cup
first time in Pakistan's history we are going to do cross-border collab.
Yeah, economic diplomacy. सोचा नहीं हर चीज water kit की.
Do you remember that string song from the 2004 cricket series? Strings और Euphoria ने गाना बनाया था. उसका नाम था जीत लो दिल.
अच्छा. I vaguely remember. I know Euphoria. I know Strings. Strings का तो मेरा वो है कोई हम जैसा is their World Cup song in my mind.
Really?
Yeah.
This is not my favorite song of theirs,
No, I
but
mean,
a
it's
lot
just
of
a song
people
that's
really
stuck in
like
my
them.
mind. हाँ.
हाँ.
आई थिंक इट वाज अ बिग उस वक्त तो स्ट्रिंग्स वो थे ना, किंग ऑफ द वर्ल्ड थे उस जमाने में, तो हिट पे हिट, दूर भी आई थी, दूर के धानी वाज अ बिग हिट, देन ये भी
Dhani
आ
was
गया.
their like golden
या,
moment. I just
एंड
ran
देन
into someone at
स्पाइडरमैन में भी
work
आ गए थे वो.
who is like Zeerak, Indian, and their son must be like, early teens, probably, if not younger. She's like, he is obsessed with strings right now. तो मतलब अभी से समझो कि यहाँ एक diaspora Indian बच्चा has just like become obsessed
हाउ
with strings. I got into them
हाउ डज दैट
somehow
इवन
and just
हैपन?
became obsessed with them.
हाँ.
It is really kind of an amazing story. They have the like such lasting power, and they're still relevant. Like you can go listen to Dhani right now, and you're like, good.
या बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. हाँ, मेरे लिए तो इसलिए it was more, I think, because उससे पहले before the ये 2000s age of Pakistani music, मैं तो पाकिस्तान में रहता ही नहीं था, तो पाकिस्तान was like a different place for me ना. फिर we moved to Pakistan, and then within a year music started exploding. So that was like the first time I was getting into music was with Pakistani music. And Dur उसी वक्त आई थी, and I was like, हाँ, Dur this, Dur that. But Dur was really famous, and then a while later I got उसकी cassette, and then I was like, हाँ bro, ये तो बड़ा अच्छा band. Someone should tell them.
If you go
But yeah,
listen to like Anjane right now,
yeah.
they
Anjana
could
is
release
crazy,
it
bro.
today,
Anjana is
and
crazy.
it
Yeah,
would not strike
yeah.
you as like, हाँ ये थोड़ा सा पुराना गाना लग रहा है. No,
हाँ
it is
हाँ.
still relevant.
Bro, उसकी वीडियो को तुम अपस्केल करके 4K में कर दो, the video will also fit.
यार
Everything will fit.
what an epic video. जब वो बंदा
Yeah,
दौड़ता है and then वो जब
yeah,
उसको नलका मिलता है और वो फिर नलके से पानी अपने सर पे डालता है,
yeah.
that scene is like so iconic.
Yeah. No, that's great. And then I think that dude recently got married. The only reason I know this is because
so random.
the only reason I know this is because some older couple got married on Kitsfear, and everyone was like, "Is that the guy from the Anjane video?"
Really, this
Because
happened?
yeah, and comments में बस ये लिखा हुआ था, and yeah,
The
Anjane
only
was like
wedding on
a
my timeline
moment.
is Imamul Haq's wedding.
अच्छा, we have different timelines clearly.
मैं यार I am too deep in the World Cup timeline. And,
हाँ.
मैं
Do we need to
देख
talk
रहा था
about the
कि
World Cup?
I mean,
मैंने तो देखा नहीं.
एमन नकवी ने जितना रांट कर दिया उसके बाद अब क्या और करने को रह गया. मगर ये कि I was looking at how sports, I will, as every man in their 30s discovers
Sure,
that sports
of
allows
course.
them to disconnect in a unconnected way. मैंने गलती ये की कि मैंने पाकिस्तान के क्रिकेट मैच देख लिए. यानी मैंने अब F1 देखना शुरू किया जो मैं देखता हूँ सिर्फ ड्रामे के लिए. कोई हार जाए,
Oh,
कोई
good.
जीत
तुमने शुरू
जाए.
कर लिया fun? Okay.
हाँ, but like it doesn't matter to me, right? Like I watch
Right.
it for the spiciness, basically.
Yeah, sure.
जैसे मैं टेनिस देख रहा हूँ, I don't really care who wins, but क्रिकेट में गलती मैंने कर दी कि मैं पाकिस्तान की मैच देखे ना, मुझे थोड़ा सा मैं उम्मीद कर ली मैंने ये गलती की मैंने.
That's the problem.
मैं तो क्रिकेट पोस्टिंग शुरू कर दी मैंने कहा इससे बेहतर हमने टीम भेजी नहीं 20 साल पहले, 20 साल हो गए हैं, उफ. तो wow, all of that.
Just when you think you're out.
नहीं मैं तो कभी I never thought I was out. It's just that this time I got too far in.
Oh, अच्छा.
I got, मतलब normally मैं जाता हूँ with very little hope. ठीक है, but मुझे पता होता है टीम कहाँ है, I'm still interested, it's still like fun to watch. This time I was like, actually, it's not so bad. They have all the right things.
Ingredients हैं सारे.
But then they messed it up, which is also fine. I can deal with the mess up. But then when you realize why did the mess up occur, and you realize, oh, it's the same structural issues as everything else.
Yeah.
Tab jaake, that's when the hope went away. Like they're like, players are the best in the world by rankings, but they look really fatigued and can't be doing anything. And it's because we have spent 3 months flying them around because we couldn't get people to visit, and then we organized poorly. और तो हमने सिस्टम, अपने सिस्टम को अपने बंदों को इंजर कर दिया, बैकअप को बनाया नहीं, इनको खिला के थका दिया, and then we were like, अच्छा हाँ परफॉर्म नहीं कर रहे, सबको चेंज कर देते हैं. And then meanwhile the person making the changes is not even there. वो डिसाइड कर रहे हैं कि हम रुक सकते हैं. And then once you look at that, you're like, अब क्या होगा? मतलब that level of hopelessness is what got me. I watched the final with some Indian friends. There I can still, I can understand that pain, which is like we did everything, like यहाँ पे, like
they
we have this
do
flaw, but it's not that there is some like systematic issue कि आपको पता है कि यही चीज बार बार repeat होती रहेगी. There is reason to hope that we have a way to fix this. लेकिन हमारे केस में तो नहीं नजर आता.
नहीं, इसी वजह से there were a few people here who prior to the World Cup were like, छोड़ दिया हमने, क्रिकेट देखने को फायदा ही नहीं है ये वो, and then they got sucked back in, and then इमीडिएटली हम बहुत सारा हार गए हम जाके लाइक ये क्या बात हुई, आई थॉट वी वर गेटिंग इनटू दिस, एंड देन हम एकदम से जीत गए, एंड देन कॉम्प्लिकेटेड
The
मैथ्स
hardest thing
शुरू
for
हो गई.
me is showing up to watch cricket with other people at these big events for people that do not watch it and then bring a amount of irrational hope. There's some level of rational hope and some
Yeah,
level of hope that
yeah,
is not rational, but you are like, I'm bringing it for my emotion. But then there is
yeah.
an amount of irrational hope that you're like, अब नहीं हो सकता. So Pakistan India का मैच से पहले ना group stage में I was with some friends and they were like, नहीं हमारी टीम तो बहुत अच्छी है. I was like, भाई please जीत गए
Yeah,
तो अच्छा होगा.
yeah,
It's a possibility. It's not
yeah.
outlandish, but to go in thinking कि नहीं हो जाएगा,
हाँ,
ये
हाँ.
आकड़ is not warranted. और फिर उसके बाद आपको होता है कि ओह मारे गए, like
Yeah.
this is going to be bad. Um,
What was the माहौल in the India का final?
it was very tense because I watched the first innings with them. और उसमें यही था कि यार अच्छा अब कुछ करेंगे और बस फंसा हुआ था because that first innings you couldn't really tell like the collapse
Yeah,
didn't occur ना. वो
yeah.
पाकिस्तान इंडिया का मैच थोड़ी था
Person
जिसमें
थोड़ी है. हाँ,
150 for 3 and then 30 for 7 ऐसे तो नहीं हुआ. It was just that that entire innings was what happened there in that innings was what my sister once described as happening in Zinda कि आपको लगता है कि अब बस चुकेगा गाना चुकने लगा लेकिन नहीं उठता वो वही रहता है. And I think in that innings there was also like हाँ सेट हुए में like कोहली सेट हो गया है ठीक है रोहित ने तो शुरू में करना था. Like for me it was interesting to it's always interesting to watch matches Indians because they're वहाँ पे उन लोगों का भी same criticism होता है. यानी पूरे
अच्छा.
वर्ल्ड कप people who have been watching the world cup रोहित शर्मा शुरू में आता है. रोहित शर्मा पहले सेंचुरी डबल सेंचुरी मारता था like he was I think the first two-time
Yeah.
double centurion in cricket. Then Rohit Sharma became this जिससे अब उसको हिटमैन वाला लिंक मिल गया. उसने इस वर्ल्ड कप में कहा यार हमारी इतनी बैटिंग है कि मैं ऊपर 200 करने की क्यों कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. मैं ये करता हूँ कि मैं 20 बॉलों में 40 करता हूँ. थोड़ा बहुत उनकी फूक निकल जाएगी फिर बाकी लोग आके मैच ले जाएंगे. So he is actively going okay I'm going to go take way more risks and occasionally lose because
Yeah.
that is better for the team. फाइनल में भी उसने
Right.
ये किया कि पूरा मैच रुका हुआ और लगता है कि पूरी इंडियन इनिंग में सिर्फ रोहित शर्मा ही था जो जिसको समझ आ गया था कैसे खेलना है. ठीक है एक मैच पे आउट हो गया. अच्छा वो आउट हुआ तो मैं देख रहा था आई वाज लाइक यार वाओ दिस गाय इवन इन द फाइनल stuck to his guns did what he's supposed
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
like
yeah,
good
yeah.
for him. ठीक है और वो मेरे इंडियन दोस्त कह रहे क्या आदमी है यार ये कुछ आउट था मारने वाला कैसे आउट एंड आई वाज लाइक ओह सेम टू सेम कोई सीन ही कोई नहीं यहाँ पे. ठीक है मतलब बेचारे कुछ बुरा भला कह रहे हैं. आई वाज लाइक ओह ये तो दिस इज व्हाट ही इज सपोज्ड टू डू डोंट वरी इट्स ओके. अच्छा कोहली जो है शुरू में थोड़ा स्लो खेल रहा है. कोहली यही करता है कि वो शुरू में करता है देन आफ्टरवर्ड्स ही एक्सेलरेट्स.
Yeah.
तो अब कोहली इज प्लेइंग लाइक रन अ बॉल आई एम लाइक वाओ
pretty okay.
गुड फॉर कोहली. फिर 50 बना ली तो वो फिर उसको भी कह रहे हैं इतना स्लो क्यों खेल रहा है मार क्यों रहा मार ले.
I think you're coming back. हाँ जी कोहली ये करता है कि
अच्छा.
वो शुरू में रखता है.
हाँ अक्यूमुलेट करता है ना थोड़ा एंड देन आफ्टरवर्ड्स ही पिक्स अप. तो शुरू में कह रहे हैं कोहली ये क्यों मार क्यों नहीं रहा ऐसे ही खेल रहा है ऐसे ही खेलता है. दिस इज लाइक दिस गाय हैज बिल्ट 10 years
This is what he
doing this
does,
and he is
yeah.
the master let him do
Yeah.
it. नहीं अच्छा मैंने जो न्यूजीलैंड और इंडिया का सेमीफाइनल था ना 2019 वर्ल्ड कप का मैंने स्टेडियम में देखा था इन अ स्टैंड फुल ऑफ इंडियंस. धोनी बैटिंग कर रहा था. मैंने वो धोनी और जडेजा बैटिंग कर रहे थे जिस वक्त एक्चुअली लग रहा था कि स्कोप है.
Right.
अच्छा धोनी is like the fastest runner I have ever seen in person.
Right.
Like you could
Yeah.
other people that were younger running with Dhoni and you were looking at it you were like wow this guy runs fast. ठीक है.
Yeah.
Tragically he gets run out और वो जा रहा है उस वक्त लग रहा था कि maybe this is his last international innings. अच्छा अब धोनी मतलब वो the world's greatest finisher of his era. Right? Won an entire World Cup purely on his finishing. Is having trouble hitting shots right now. और लोग उसको इतनी गंदी गंदी गालियां दे रहे हैं स्टैंड में से. मैंने कहा यार वर्ल्ड कप विनिंग कैप्टन है मतलब लाइक दिस इज द थिंग दिस गाय इज नोन फॉर डूइंग एंड इफ ही कांट डू इट डज ही डिजर्व बेनिफिट ऑफ द डाउट. मैंने कहा अच्छा धोनी से ज्यादा किसको बेनिफिट ऑफ द डाउट मिलेगा उसको क्रिकेट में. इट वाज वेयर आई वाज गोइंग. उसको इतनी गंदी गालियां पड़ रही थी एंड आई वाज लाइक यार अच्छा सब एक ही जैसे होते हैं. ठीक है. सो मुझे एक्चुअली काफी तरस आता है बिकॉज आई थॉट इफ दिस इंडियन टीम कांट विन दिस वर्ल्ड कप तो फिर क्या उम्मीद कर सकते हैं. हम तो खैर दूर की बात ना कि हम तो कह रहे हैं कि हमारा सिचुएशन तो डिफरेंट है लेकिन ये इंडियन टीम इतनी डोमिनेटिंग इतने प्लेयर लाइक रोहित इज गिविंग हिज विकेट अवे बिकॉज देयर इज टू मेनी रिचेस.
Yeah. बेचारे. I mean I feel for the team despite वो criticism सारा on the organization or whatever सब अपनी जगह. मोदी जी भी थोड़े awkward थे and Australia वाले भी like my lesson as a non-watcher is कि don't fucking let Australia get to the final.
यार
उसको पहले
this
से निकाल
Australian
दो.
team, like especially where they were early in the tournament, you're like कोई सी
Yeah,
ठीक है वो पवेलियन
yeah.
वाले कह रहे हैं जैम्पा को, ये जैम्पा इनका स्पिनर है, दूसरा स्पिनर मैक्स वाले, 5 बॉलर इनके पूरे नहीं होते, कहाँ जाएंगे, इन्होंने बहुत 15 बॉल गलत सेलेक्ट किए इन्होंने. और फिर उसके बाद वो कह रहे हैं I guess we were wrong.
I mean, holy shit यार, मतलब क्या हो जाता है इन लोगों को.
और एमर का राउंड था ना जिसमें वो कहता है कि ये दोज़ख के शहजादे ऑस्ट्रेलिया. हैव यू सीन दिस? इफ नॉट यू शुड वॉच इट. बट बेसिकली उसने तो बहुत बुरा बुला कहा उसने, कहा कि वहाँ किसी को फर्क भी नहीं पड़ता. एंड देन पैट कमिंस की तस्वीर आई है कि वो वर्ल्ड कप पहुंचा, अपने उसने 4 बैग उठाए हुए हैं क्रिकेट के, वो ट्रॉली हिला रहा है.
बिग डील.
और 4 रिपोर्टर उससे पूछ रहे हैं, हेलो भाई कैसा रहा आपका टूर, बता दें, खत्म. इतना दुख आपने इसलिए पहुंचाया.
This was a point of contention. Indian या देसी fans में generally की कोई इज्जत ही नहीं है, ये तो they don't even care. I'm like, yeah bro, फिर भी जीत गए. They destroyed everybody. And it's just like another sport. But yeah, khair, this has been your cricket segment in the Hamnawa episode of this month.
Let us know if we should never do it again.
One guy disappointed as usual, the other guy laughing at having no interests. Yeah, बड़ा फायदा होता है when I have people. नहीं यार, मैं sports में कोई है नहीं मुझे.
You don't watch any sports?
Not really. When I subscribed to being a nerd, I was like, bas full. Nothing accessible. And
I have become a sports nerd now.
Yeah. Like, I think, is it because you like the analytics portion of it?
I think it certainly makes it more interesting. Like I noticed that I watch a lot of England matches because unki commentary team bahut zabardast hai. So like the way that they talk and like I find that my interest is directly correlated to the strength of the broadcast.
Right.
यानी मैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया के मैचेस बहुत नहीं देख सकता. There's a lot of kind of jingoism there. India के matches भी इस तरह, it's like not as enjoyable.
That showed up suddenly.
I was like, why is there a bubble? What's happening to my house? I think this is like the Mac OS, वो जो automatic ना.
अच्छा.
Have you seen these effects?
I've not seen these.
They're kind of crazy.
Before we continue talking about cricket, आप सुने, playlist is linked to the thing. We'll stop recording for now. And yeah, अगले episode, 2 episodes then? Do you think we'll do 2 in December?
Let's see.
Why not?
तुम ठीक तो हो पहले.
हाँ. I think this is as good as it gets. ठीक है जी. Thank you for listening, watching, viewing, liking, subscribing, or listening to the playlist. And I don't know if anyone's here at this point. Okay, bye.